From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
So, Miss Vicki.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when we were watching those WRL events and some of those grid life events where you used to see the in-car video and it had like the cameras seeing front and back, but it also could see all the telemetry and everything that was going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the ones that we liked were taken by the Sentinel system. Remember James came on our podcast earlier?
Right.
You know, we have no excuse since he lent us one for trial and demonstration purposes. We should actually probably put that in one of our cars. Maybe two.
I really think we should.
I think we should.
I know.
Because then we'd look like the immature endurance racing team that we are. Oh, wait, I mispronounced that, didn't I? Sorry, my bad. We could
So what does the
have,
Sentinel system do?
we could have 3 cameras with picture-in-picture. We could have, if we ever get the AIM system to work, open invitation to anybody from AIM to come on and give us a little bit of love. We need some help. And then we could have all our telemetry on there. And then we can have it streamed live into the paddock or around the world to our millions of fans. We're apparently very popular in Kenya right now. Don't know why, but that's fine. And it can integrate all the available race statistics from like Race Hero and everything. So we could actually see how we're doing on video. We wouldn't even have to carry around our phone anymore. Live.
I love it.
Dominating with Dawson.
Welcome back to Dominating Dawson. We're here live once again at the Garage Heroes in Training rental RV radio booth. I don't know. Sounds good. Pit race.
We're at Pit Race. That's right. We're here after the Saturday race with Lucky Dog Racing League.
Lucky Dog Racing League. Ben, we've got questions. We have questions. We went to a rather excellent driver's meeting this morning by one Miss Kathy.
Kathy is excellent at giving a driver's meeting. That's right. She knows it all.
She did. And we had a question come in coincidentally that was covered in driver's meeting. Ben Dawson, what do you do when you're on track and a red flag or a black flag is shown?
Well, it's 2 different responses. If you see a red flag, what would cause a red flag? What do you think?
Fire.
You got any ideas?
Fire would be bad.
It says fire. I say probably a car flipping might cause a red flag because you're going to need folks to get out there and flip that car back over. But just an extreme upset condition on the track has happened, and a lot of times there's also the added concern that somebody might be hurt. So if there's any worry that somebody's hurt, that's also a situation where you might see a red flag.
Yeah, usually I think if it's somebody's got to get on this track now.
Yeah, exactly. If we need to get out onto the track and respond to this emergency right now, we're just going to throw a red flag. And the way to respond to a red flag, the natural thing might be like, oh, I see a red flag, I got to stop now. I'm going to slam the brakes on and stop in the middle of the track where I am just because they said stop. But what you need to do when you see a red flag, considering that there are likely people in traffic behind you who might not have spotted it yet, is you want to come to a slow, controlled stop, and you want to stay on the track. You don't want to go off. You don't want to go off the track because if you're driving a car that has a catalytic converter or a hot exhaust, you might set the grass on fire. So, I believe almost everybody says pull off to the right. Usually, that's what I've always heard. I've heard that if you pull off to the right, most folks will think these people on the right are okay and they're just getting out of the way. At least in the land speed racing world, and I'm not sure if I heard this at road course or not, but if you pull off to the left, that's sometimes a sign like I'm in trouble. I'm off to the left side of the track. But in general, if you're the person who's encountering a red flag just as a participant and not the cause, and you're okay, pull your car, come to a slow control stop off to the right side of the track. Is that what you heard?
I have heard some tracks that they like left or they like right. I've not heard it means anything. I've also heard they don't care, just stay to the side, but they really want you to be controlled, not a emergency e-stop, not throw a hammer out the window and dig into the ground and stop as quick as you can because the person behind you may not choose to do that. And then they'd also like you to be within signs so you can see a flag station, and they're okay if you come to a stop and then crawl to where you can see a flag station.
Sure. Another thing to think about, those are all legit and the right answers. Another thing to think about is you don't want to sit on a hot track on your brakes. So everybody out there, every flag person is going to understand if you let your car go ahead and roll. If you're sitting on an incline, probably not roll backwards. You might want to ease up. I don't think you ever want to roll backwards on track. But if you're sitting in a place where you're on a hill that you could roll down to get to a flat spot where you don't have to sit with your brakes welded to a hot rotor, that's also okay. And they're going to understand if you need to just kind of roll your car. So sometimes you might want to wave to the corner worker and like, hey, I'm just, they'll kind of look at you and go, it's okay. But that's also a legit move on a red flag is nobody expects you to sit there and hurt your car.
Yeah, I made that mistake early on when I was learning to drive, that, coming to a stop and pulling your emergency brake, if you have one, or if you're just sitting there with your brakes on your hot rotors, that will warp or crack your rotors. So make a point of not doing that. Make the rubby sound.
Yeah, like you can get some of the brake pad to go onto the rotor, and then every time you go by, you hear zzz, zzz,
Yeah,
zzz.
that's what it sounds like.
So don't do that, because then we replace brake pads and rotors.
Yeah, that's one thing they really don't tell you when you're out there learning to drive and you're going through your HPDEs. They don't really mention that part of it, but it can do some significant damage for your weekend.
One other thing in that same vein that has nothing to do with a red flag is you should never torque a hot wheel. So don't ever come in off the track and try to torque a wheel down until it cools off because that could crack or break a wheel. So just another side note for me. Let's talk about black flags and what happens when you get a black flag. Have you ever had a
Yes. Yeah.
It wasn't my fault.
It's never my fault, but I've had many black flags. I've had many chances to react to a black flag. And whether you're at a DE or in the middle of a competition event, if they give you the black flag, especially if they're holding a board down that has your car number on it, you know that it's time for you to come into the pits. Sometimes if you're in traffic and there's 3 or 4 cars around you and they're waving a black flag and you're not sure it's for you, it's okay to stay out. Of course, if you just hit somebody or spun out, when you're in lemons, you might want to take the hint and figure it's probably for you. But in general, if you're getting a black flag and you know it's for you, it's time to come into the pits and have a discussion with the people who are running the event to find out why they need to talk to you. Sometimes it's just to let you know something about your car, especially if it's the black flag with the big orange circle in it. That's called the meatball flag. And it's because your exhaust is hanging off, or you're splashing gas out, or you didn't put your gas cap on, or you're mildly on fire or severely on fire. So that was pretty straightforward, but a lot of times black flags are about our behavior or, the way we're conducting ourselves on track. And in that case, it might be you went off track, you put 2 off, you put 4 off at a DE or a lemons race, and you need to come in and talk about it. So the proper response to a black flag is to come into the pits, obeying whatever rules they have about coming into the pits, whether if it's a DE, put your arm out, whatever rules are for coming into the pits with the group you're running with, come on in there and go to the place where you're supposed to report to when you get black flagged. Usually they'll detail that in the driver's meeting. They'll say, this is where you got to go if we need to talk to you. In this instance, we're here with the Lucky Dog Racing Series. And if I get a black flag, I know from the driver's meeting that I go all the way down to pit out. You come in and you tell the people at pit in, hey, I got a black flag, and they'll direct you right down to pit out, which is called the dog pound. Dog pound. You go down to the dog pound and get it talking to about whatever happened. So in this series, I think you can do a little bit more messing around and messing up. I heard them talking to the corner workers saying that, if a car spins out like 3 times in an hour and they're keeping track of it, then we'll bring them in and talk to them. So you kind of, in some series like Lemons, you put one wheel off and they notice that you're going to come in and have to talk about it, which, as a side note, I think makes you have to be a pretty disciplined and good racer if you still want to be fast and living by those rules. So I think Lemons can teach all racers a lot when it comes to that regard, because it's not a thing where you can just go spin out 4 times. I think if they let you spin out and spin out and spin out, I don't think you learn that much. But I sure learned a lot about racing and keeping it clean in Lemons.
But I only spun out 3 times, man. I'm only supposed to come in on my 4th time, and I was Lando was going in, and then I decided to go off the gas and hit the gas some more. So I was headed to the apex, so I could just drive him out into Belgium when I'm racing in Austin. I don't see the problem, Ben. I don't see why this is an issue. What are you talking about? Why do I get a black flag? Why is it's not me. I'm doing the driving to the rules, Ben. I'm driving.
Hey, listen, Bill, we're gonna need you to park that car for a couple hours, and then we'll talk about it. No, what Bill was doing was the perfect example of how not to conduct yourself when you do get into the to talk about whatever it was. I mean, it's fault. A lot of times when I've had to go in, like I've had more experience kind of going in and facing DE black flags with students. If a student does something and it goes off, I get to go in there. A lot of times I get to be their lawyer, like, hey, here's what happened. I'm just trying to get it back out on track quick enough. So I'm like, hold on, I know these guys' language. I tell the student, I'm always like, hold on, I got this, and we'll get up there and I'll lawyer for him for a second, explain what it was, so that we can get back out quickly on track. But the whole point of talking to the person who's wants to talk to you about why you're in the pits, you got to go in there. You got to be respectful. You have to be open to what they have to tell you. You have to be open to saying that things might be wrong with your car. You have to acknowledge that something might be messed up with your car or your behavior. Because I mean, this is high stakes stuff. There's a reason why they're going to pull you off the track because they don't feel like you're being safe enough. We're all out here, got kids and stuff like that. So there's reasons behind it, but you have to be open to hearing what they are when you come in to the black flag station, or you're going to have a bad attitude and fail, which is what you got to come in. Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you. That's all it works.
So, Ben, we're going to give you potential options for defending yourself in a black flag. The ladies and I will come up with potential options. You get to grade them. Ben, my option, I'm going to choose. Don't you know who I am? I am an SCCA racer for 10 years and I instruct. Ben, would you grade that as a black flag?
I would grade that as getting parked for at least 2 hours.
2 hours, 2 hours. Miss Jen, you got a black flag? You pulling in? What's your defense going to be?
I didn't do it. They ran me off the track.
Okay, in that case, that's a tough one because a lot of times we're talking about series where maybe there are people who've never done wheel to wheel racing here today. So if I was at a NASA race and a NASA racer who's been through comp school told me that, I'd be like, I need you to park it for the day because if you're unaware of what happened and why, that's a real thing. If you're kind of a qualified racer, that's never an okay answer. But if it's Lemons, Champ, or Lucky Dog, and you say that, then I might just have to go, okay, well, you got to watch your mirrors better and get on back out there. You know what I mean? Because you're unaware of what happened. It's not my fault. It just kind of happened to me. As an inexperienced racer, that might be the legit answer. And I'm probably not going to park you. This guy got parked because he was being a turkey.
Got a racing license.
He has a racing license, but he clearly does not know how to operate it. So he got parked to think about it for a while. In your case, Jen, I would probably be like, hey, it happens. I need you to just be out there and keep your head on a swivel. I give you a little bit of advice about being situationally aware and making sure to watch your mirrors and hope for the best because that's part of the package that we provide as an organization. You know what I mean? Like that's if I'm a Lemons, Lucky Dog, or Champ, that's who we are.
I think that's true, and I also feel even in Lemons, like they'll send you back out there, but then just watch. If it continues to happen, then maybe it's just not, it's not the other person.
There is the potential, depending on how many times a issue has been on the track globally or specifically to your car, where Lemons will say, I don't care. It took two of your cars and both of you are going to this bar.
Yeah. These organizations will let you kind of get through things one by one, but they are certainly watching for patterns.
Miss Vicki, what about your black flag?
Example. Everybody else doesn't really know what they're doing. I didn't see the flag. There was no flag. There was no yellow flags. I didn't see the black flag. I didn't see any flags.
That's a tough one because I immediately want to park this driver right now and send it.
I am busting out the shrink wrap and they're going on the roof.
Yeah, that's you get some kind of janky Lemons penalty for that kind. It's everybody's fault but mine. It's what's crazy, and I'm glad I'm not a race organizer because I would look at this and be like, "There's no fixing you. Put that shit on a trailer." But you can't say it. I mean, that's a weird one. All right, let's say.
Misty. What if Ben? How about this? I passed like 37 cars like they were sitting still, and I am an entrepreneur, and I know people who could invest in racing, and you're persecuting me.
Well, if you passed them under green, congratulations. Get on back out there. Passed them under yellow, huh? This happened in real life, didn't it? I can't even remember what happened to the guy. To the guy, yeah, I know it's at AER, Rhode Atlanta. Uh, it's wasn't that home slice? It's you. I did. I mean, didn't that guy pretty much self park, or he's just like, yeah. So I mean, I think that guy kind of just looked around. And it's like this isn't my kind of thing, and kind of self selected out of there. But yeah, that was a wild one. That's such an outlier that that it's wildly out there. All right, so I'm in a lemons race, and I just drove two wheels off at the end of the backstretch, and you're Eric Rude.
Uh, Ben, what happened out there?
I tell you, it was having a good time, and just ran out of talent at the end of the backstretch. I didn't even think I was trying anything extra, but by the time I got time to turn in, I didn't have enough. I hadn't slowed down enough to turn in, and I put two wheels off in the gravel.
Well, seeing as this is your first time, and I know you know how to do this, I expected more of you, and I'm disappointed. But you need to get this car under control and be safe and be an example for the rest of our Lemons fans.
You're right about that. I appreciate it.
All right, go out there. I don't want to see you again.
I hope you don't. And then my brake light stopped working, and I did see him again, but for a less nefarious reason.
So, I think I think
That's how you do it.
I think there's a theme. Fall on the sword. Be respectful. Be apologetic. What's Matt's favorite phrase from the ever popular Everyone Racers podcast when he was on there? Do you remember? Don't be a dick. Be a dude.
Totally. You just got to go in there and own it. There's no place for bravado or ego in the penalty box or the black box.
It's kind of like getting pulled over by the police.
Oh, so I get 3 points every time I get pulled over because I never get out because I have no breastises.
And if you can actually explain, like Ben was saying, if you can actually explain sort of what happened, at least they know that you're aware of what you're driving and how you're driving.
Not only aware, but self-aware.
Self-aware.
As a bonus, Ben, why are you in here for a black flag?
I'm in here because
Don't know.
no. I'm in here because I put like what I thought was a half a wheel off passing a car on the outside, and I was trying to kind of hope maybe nobody noticed it, and here I am because I bet it's about that.
All right, so Ben asked me if I don't know why I'm in on a black flag, what my response will be.
Do you know why you're in here right now?
I don't think I did anything wrong, but since I don't think I did anything wrong, the most likely thing is I passed under yellow and I don't remember seeing it. But if I did, I apologize.
That's a good response. Another thing I would say is if I because the cop says, you know why I pulled you over, which also you don't have to answer any questions from a cop. You can just go, why did you pull me over? But the thing is that, if you could pull in the black flag station and you're not sure, my answer would be, I'm not entirely sure. Let me know about it. I want to make sure I fix whatever it is. Let me know so I can fix it. And not in an aggressive way, but yeah, well, please tell me. I want to make sure I'm not doing it again. If it's out of pocket enough that I need to be in here talking to you, and I'm unaware of it, please tell me so I can get it squared away. Like the time I got pulled in for no brake lights. I didn't know I didn't have any brake lights, right? So it might be behavior, it might be a car condition thing or anything. But if you get pulled in there and you're not sure why, it's okay to go, I'm not sure. Let me know what's going on.
And as a final example of things that you should learn from us and not do like we do, Miss Vicki, I'm pulling you in. You get pulled over, and you ask me why, and my response is because your gas is leaking on to the track. What is your response going to be?
I'm pulling it in the pits right now and fixing it.
Fix it. Stay on track.
It's never the gas tank cap. It's never the cap. It's never the cap. It's never the cap wasn't tight. Because what happens the second time you get pulled in for leaking gas on the track?
They absolutely pull you, park your car for the entire race.
That's right. Ask us how we know this after 9 laps. Ugly. Bad weekend. So remember, when gas is leaking, you get 1 strike policy. It is not the gas cap. Do not think it's the gas cap. Do not just tighten the gas cap and say, oh, we must not have tightened it. Check everything, or else you will be parked, which is no fun when you have 9 drivers and 1 car. Ask us how I know. Anyway, Mr. Dawson, did we do everything?
I think we talked about everything. It's in. Oh, black flag off. So, yeah. So if they're waving a black flag at every corner station, it ain't just for you. It's for everybody, and everybody needs to come into the pits in a controlled way. If it's at a DE, typically we're talking about sticking your left arm out the window straight up with your wrist kind of next to your head. If it's at a race, you kind of just maybe depends on who's near you. And we've talked about this before, I think, but in a race, I'm big on waving my hand next to in between where the 2 seats would be. If there's a problem, I'm waving my hand just to get somebody's attention. Like, hey, something's wrong. Pay attention. Just if I'm hoping that I'm just waving my hand so somebody will look around and be like, oh, something's going on, instead of like trying to stuff this pass or run up and through my trunk. So yeah, black flag all. You just want to come into the pits in a safe, controlled way and line up and just wait to hear what your next instructions are going to be. Whether you're going to go everybody file it. If it's bad enough, they're going to file everybody into the paddock. If it's just wait while we clean this up situation, they'll just sit there and wait. And maybe sometimes somebody will come along and tell you. Maybe sometimes you just sit there for 5 minutes and go back out and never know what it was.
Just like when you're in traffic on the highway. Like, why did everybody slow down? Why did they stop? There's nothing here. Anyway, I think that one's good. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks for having me.